All right, well, first off, I just wanted to greet everybody at our award recognition ceremony and to have our newly promoted personnel and also swear in our firefighters. But first off, I just ask that you all stand. We have Will Thrasher from Boy Scout Troop 38, who's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, along with his father.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Will.
Please sit.
Be seated, yes. So again, I wish to thank everybody for coming here today and spending some time with us. We have a pretty significant crowd. We might enlist some of you to go on some calls today, so don't be surprised if we pick a couple of you to go on the fire engine or the ambulance. That's going to be the theme today. Anyways, so first off, I'd like to recognize our local officials that are joining us today. Wanted to recognize our town manager, Julian Suso, assistant town manager, Peter Johnson-Staub, also select person, Angele Scott Price, and congratulations on your recent election to the board. Also Senator Moran, who's joining us. She was able to escape from the State House and join us today. And also, I wanted to recognize Chief Dunn for attending the service with us today. And also, I'd like to recognize some of the Cape Fire Chiefs and also recognize retired Chief Small, who's quietly standing in the background. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be standing here right now. So thanks a lot, Mike. Also, I wanted to recognize Chief Wynn from Senegal, Osterville, Marston's Mills Fire Department, and also congratulate him on his recent election to President of the Fire Chiefs of Massachusetts. Also, Chief Peter Burke from Hyannis, who is also one of the vice presidents with the Fire Chiefs Association of Massachusetts. Also, Chief Burke from Sandwich Fire, I wanted to recognize him as well. Chief Burke was very instrumental in helping all the Upper Cape police and fire public safety personnel to be immunized early on this year. And without his coordination and his expertise, it would have taken us a lot longer to get it done. So I wanted to publicly thank John for all he did, or JJ if you want to talk to him on a personal note later on. Also wanted to recognize the other chiefs that are with us. We got Chief Rulo from Mashpee, got Chief Emery from Joint Base Cape Cod, got Deputy Phelan, Assistant Chief Polonzi from Bourne. Looking around if there's anybody else out here. I think Josh Sutherland's dad here, retired. Chatted with him on the phone before, so I'm glad you made it up from Florida. In uniform, no less, that's great. So I wanted to thank everybody, and if I didn't mention your name, I apologize, but welcome. Okay. So today we're holding our official promotion and recognition ceremony. We've had many attempts over the years to hold one. Many things have come up that have kind of stopped us from actually having this date. And as we got closer, obviously COVID was, really the chalk block that stopped us from moving forward. So when we saw the opportunity to have this very traditional and important event to recognize our personnel, we took advantage of it. And looking out in the crowd, I'm glad that everybody was able to make it. And it's really important to come here and witness this with some of our personnel. Finally, being in person is made possible by some of the changing dynamics that were brought on by COVID. We can actually now get back to talking about the weather rather than being consumed with all the chatter surrounding the pandemic. And it's nice to see everybody's smiling faces once again, for the most part. Today, we have many personnel who have been promoted in the last year or so, and other firefighters who have been hired since our last gathering, and we wish to formally swear them in today and have the families participate in pinning them with their badges. In addition, we have other personnel and community members here that we wish to recognize. Before we do so, I wanted to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of all our fire rescue personnel and staff for their dedication and professionalism day in and day out as they serve our community. As you can imagine, they have to endure the quickly changing dynamics associated with the past year as the new threat to all public safety, first responders, and healthcare work has rapidly evolved. Safety and precautions are a common practice for all of us, but in order to keep our frontline personnel protected, it was a team effort, and we're grateful for all to quickly adapt to the various policies and procedures that were rolling out during this time frame. Additionally, my thanks to the outstanding work by our personnel to ready the outside grounds for this event, and also the station. We have our annual inspections, and this is what you see is the hard work by our personnel getting ready for our inspections. Also, I wanted to thank Cloverfield Property Care for donating their time, and they also provided a lot of the mulch that we use to spiff up our grounds. Also, I'd be remiss in pointing out our public safety partners down the street in the police department. They were part of this entire pandemic, and they also worked hand in hand with us, and I thank our brothers in blue down the street for all that they do, for all that they have to endure as well. And if it wasn't for them, in many instances, we'd have some significant challenges. So thank you, gentlemen, for your ongoing work and your efforts in the community. Also, before we move into our ceremony, I wanted to exchange my thanks to the community as a whole for the support of our fire department. Many changes have come about in the last several months, including the approval of new personnel through an override, changes in our daily shift staffing, new equipment, and the prospect of a new future fire station, maybe more than one. So again, I wish to thank everybody in the community for your support. So that being said, I'd like everybody to provide a big round of applause for everybody around you, for everything that everybody's done, for all that you've endured over the last year or so. You made it, so thank you. So we're gonna, because we have so many people that we need to recognize and to pin and promote, we're gonna start off. I'm gonna ask Deputy Thrasher to join me up at the podium, because apparently I can't swear myself in, so somebody else is gonna do it.
Excuse me. So Chief Smith began his career with Falmouth as a firefighter paramedic in 1987. He rose to the rank of permanent lieutenant in 1999 and has served as acting captain as well until he was permanently promoted to captain in 2011. In 2012, he was promoted to acting deputy fire chief until being permanently appointed to this position as of 2014. With the retirement of Chief Small, he was appointed to acting fire chief and then appointed by the town manager as chief of Falmouth Fire Rescue Department in December of 2020. So at this time, I'd like to call forward Town Clerk Michael Palmer for swearing in of the chief.
All right, Chief, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Timothy Smith,
I, Timothy Smith,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as the fire chief of the town of Falmouth,
as the fire chief of the town of Falmouth,
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and understanding.
I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the constitutions and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Oh, yeah.
So at this time, I'd like to call forward his wife Kathy for the pinning
Bring home that to you.
and his son Owen.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call up Deputy Chad Abston. Deputy Abston has been with the department since 2004, and he served as a firefighter paramedic until his promotion to the rank of permanent lieutenant in 2013. He eventually rose to the rank of permanent captain in 2015, and then served in an acting capacity until his permanent promotion to the rank of deputy fire chief. I'd like to also bring up Mike Palmer, who's going to be on a rotating basis here and conduct the swearing in.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Chad Abston,
I, Chad Abston,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties upon me
perform all duties upon me
as a deputy fire chief of the town of Falmouth,
as a deputy fire chief of the town of Falmouth,
according to the best of my ability and understanding,
according to the best of my abilities and understanding,
and will support the Constitution and laws
and will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States,
of the United States,
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
If we could have Chad's family come up to do the honors, pin his badge, please. No yawning. Excellent. All right, thank you. I now call up Captain Starboard. Yeah. Captain Scott Starboard has been with the department since 1999. He started as a firefighter and was promoted to permanent lieutenant in 2015. He's been active as working with the training division to help new recruits over the years and currently serves in our department as our supply officer. He has filled in as acting captain and then permanently promoted to the rank of captain as of March 28, 2021. As Mike to once again do the swearing in.
Just raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Scott Starboard,
I, Scott Starboard,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as a captain for the Falmouth Fire Department,
as a captain for the Falmouth Fire Department,
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and understanding.
I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God. Thank you.
I now ask Captain Starboard's family to join him and conduct the pinning, please. Lieutenant Craig O'Malley. Lieutenant Craig O'Malley has been with our department since 2001 and has served as a firefighter paramedic and then permanently promoted to the rank of lieutenant in 2016. He then took over the role of our emergency medical supervisor in June of 2012. In 2020, he became our fire prevention officer after the retirement of Lieutenant Mel Trott. At this time, I'd ask Mike to come in for the swearing in.
Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Craig O'Malley,
I, Craig O'Malley,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as the fire prevention officer for the town of Falmouth,
as a fire prevention officer of the town of Falmouth,
according to the best of my ability and understanding.
according to my best of my ability and understanding.
I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
We ask Craig O'Malley's family to join him for the pinning. How's my time going? I'd now ask Lieutenant Terry Rogers to join us up front. Lieutenant Terry Rogers began his career with the department in 2011. He served as a firefighter paramedic until his promotion to the rank of lieutenant as of 2016. He has since transitioned to the role of emergency medical supervisor in 2020, and he's been very busy ever since. So we would ask Mike Palmer to join him.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Terrence Rogers,
I, Terrence Rogers,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
I faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as the emergency medical service supervisor
as the emergency medical supervisor
for the town of Falmouth,
for the town of Falmouth,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding.
and understanding.
I will support the laws and Constitution
I will support the laws and Constitution
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
and the charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ask Lieutenant Rogers' family to join him for the pinning. Congrats. Before I move into the swearing in of our lieutenants, I wanted to recognize a couple of members that have retired in the last year as well. First off, in your program, you'll note that firefighter Patrick Gonzalez and Lieutenant Mel Trott have retired. Pat Gonzalez can't join us here today, but Pat served our department since 1988 as a firefighter EMT. He was very active with our department over these years and finished out his last shift at Station 5 in East Falmouth in April of 2020. In fact, his last day on duty was spent at a second alarm fire in East Falmouth, and he was unable to attend a family planned party that same night after he was set to leave for his last shift. Mel Trott came to Falmouth from Bourne Fire Department in 1992 as a firefighter paramedic and rose to the rank of permanent rank of lieutenant in 1997. He transitioned to serve as a fire prevention officer in 2007 and served in his role until his retirement in June of 2020. Mel has been instrumental in overseeing many changes in this office and worked with the town's inspectional services and countless other residents and businesses to ensure enforcement and compliance with life safety code and regulations. Mel also was a certified fire investigator and provided expert oversight in this capacity. And I would ask Mel to come forward for his badge. Okay. All right, I would ask Deputy Thrasher to come forward. Deputy Thrasher is going to recognize our newly promoted lieutenants. We're just going to get you the information from Kim.
Okay, we have 6 appointments to lieutenant. I'll call them up individually. We'll come up as a group for the swearing in. We have Sean K. Ellis, who was appointed June 21st of 2020. Patrick W. Friel, March 28th, 2021. Timothy L. Bailey, July 1st, 2020. Christopher E. Hamblin, July 1st, 2020. Benjamin D. Wellington, July 1st, 2020. And Mark A. Deo, July 1st, 2020. So we have a few through retirements, but when the department increased our staffing levels, we also worked very hard to get more frontline supervisors at the stations. So you see a lot of the appointments for the 4 lieutenants at the same time, and it's enhanced our operation out at Station 5. You've been a great bolster to our operations here at the fire department. So I have to call up town clerk for the swearing in.
Okay, if you can all raise your right hand and then repeat after me. I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially perform all duties incumbent upon me as a lieutenant for the town of Falmouth, according to the best of my abilities and understanding. I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth. So help me God. Congratulations.
So I'll call up the family members now. Pinning Lieutenant Ellis will be wife Dawn. Pinning Lieutenant Friel will be son PJ and daughter Coco. Pinning Lieutenant Bailey will be wife Deborah and son Jack. Pinning Lieutenant Hamblin will be Patty and Burnley. Pinning Lieutenant Wellington will be fiancee Lauren. And pinning Lieutenant Deo will be Ryan Deo. So you can all come forward. Congratulations.
gentlemen. Congratulations. I now ask Deputy Abston to come to the podium, please. This will be for the new firefighter hires since 2017.
Good afternoon. We're going to have 4 groups of firefighters come to the podium today to be sworn in. In Group 1, we have James Craven, Aaron Banish, Christopher Brown, and Scott Payne. Unfortunately, Firefighter Craven and Firefighter Brown are unable to attend today. We'll have the gentleman sworn in by the town clerk.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name.
I, Scott Dennis,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth,
as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth,
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and my understanding.
I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Very good.
I'd like to have the following people come up and pin their badges on these firefighters. Captain Ryan Gavin, and father of Scott Payne and mother of Scott Payne, Dave and Debbie. Our next group, we're going to have firefighter Carlos Olivero, firefighter Dominic DiGregorio, firefighter Jonah Olson, firefighter Kevin Cahill, firefighter Matthew Whited, firefighter Richie Walls, firefighter Christopher McEntee, and firefighter Tyler Silva. As you can tell, the guys standing up here are less than what I called out. So firefighter Olson, Cahill, McEntee, and Silva are unable to attend today. Mr. Town Clerk.
You can all raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear and affirm that I will faithfully and impartially perform all duties incumbent upon me as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth, according to the best of my ability and understanding. I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth. So help me God. Congratulations.
I'd like to ask the families to come forward for the penning. We're going to have Carlos's father, Jay, and wife, Anna. Captain Gavin will come up and pen Firefighter Whited. Firefighter Wall's wife, Nicole. And Firefighter DeGregorio's mom, Jill.
Thank you.
Okay, our next group, I'd like to call up Firefighter Shane O'Brien, Firefighter Mackenzie Wyman, Firefighter Justin Golden, Firefighter Stephen Lawler, and Firefighter Blake Wilson. And Firefighter Lawler is unable to attend today.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, please state your name.
I, Jesse Young,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth,
as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth,
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and understanding.
I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I'd like to call the following people to the podium. Firefighter O'Brien's parents, Michael and Maureen. Captain Gavin. David Golden. And Deputy Thrasher. Those are all set, thank you. And for our final group, Firefighter Robert Beery, Firefighter Christian Moses, Firefighter Adam Navoychik. Been practicing that all morning. Firefighter Michael Berry Jr., Firefighter Nicholas Deulis, and Firefighter Joshua Sutherland.
Okay, if you can raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Joshua Sutherland,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
perform all duties incumbent upon me
perform all duties incumbent upon me
as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth,
as a firefighter for the town of Falmouth,
to the best of my ability and understanding.
to the best of my ability and understanding.
I will support the Constitution and laws
I will support the Constitution and laws
of the United States of America,
of the United States of America,
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
the Charter and bylaws of the town of Falmouth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Right. I'd like to call up Christian Moses' mother, Anita, firefighter Navoychik's wife, Marion, firefighter Michael Berry Jr.'s father, Michael Berry Sr., firefighter Nicholas DeUlis's friend, Dan Preach, and firefighter Joshua Sutherland's father, John. There you go.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right. So that was a little lengthy, but it's been a little bit of time. So again, we can't stress how important this is in the career of a firefighter to be sworn in, have the pin placed on their chest by their family members. It's something that they remember, and as they move up in ranks, it becomes even more special as time goes on. So I'm happy that everybody was here to participate and to witness this tradition. So I'd like to move in now to the recognitions portion of our day here. And I'd ask Kim Strom to join me at the podium to recognize the award that's going to be presented to the Falmouth Community Emergency Response Team. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. One of the many things that I find endearing about Falmouth is that our community has an abundance of resident volunteers who, whether they were born here or wash ashores, care deeply about their community and their neighbors. We're blessed with a number of volunteer organizations that contribute to the betterment and well-being of our community. Today, I have the privilege of recognizing one such organization, the Falmouth Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT as we call them, and more particularly, Director Dan DiNardo and Assistant Director Helen Vizina. For those unfamiliar, CERT is a group of committed volunteers trained under the National CERT curriculum. It focuses on disaster response skills such as fire safety, light search and rescue, disaster medical operations, and team organization. The purpose of CERT is to support emergency responders with disaster preparedness and with protecting family, neighbors, and others during a disaster or an emergency. The FEMA Introduction to Community Emergency Response Team course states, with trained, reliable volunteer teams in place, professional responders can focus on other complex and dangerous tasks during a disaster situation. It continues, and herein lies the potency of both Dan and Helen. CERT members build and enhance their community, and boy, do the two of them. Community's capabilities to be prepared for, respond to, and recover from disasters. Now, CERT is only deployed when and how it's directed by their sponsoring organization, which in our community is Falmouth Fire Rescue and the emergency division under that umbrella. And with such, the fire chief is the emergency management director. However, I can attest with Dan and Helen, CERT volunteers are not simply key partners during emergencies, they're also trained to act as good Samaritans and apply their skills on what we call blue sky days, or whenever a situation arises in their daily lives. Dan and Helen are the epitome of that training, true good Samaritans, always reaching out, offering their helping hands. The list of how CERT, under the leadership of Dan and Helen, has come to the aid of our professional responders over the last decade is far too lengthy to list here. However, I would like to highlight just a few. They've assisted over the years with the Falmouth Road Race and the Paul White Race, National Night Out, Cape Cod Cares for Troops, the Barnstable County Fair, the Falmouth Emergency Preparedness and Fire Prevention Fair, Search and Rescues, canteen services for fire suppression, provide emergency preparedness educational presentations to neighborhood groups, and most recently have provided support at the Barnstable County Fairgrounds vaccination site. And what I consider probably their greatest contribution is manning our emergency shelter whenever it is called for. We couldn't operate it without them. Falmouth CERT team has become a known and trusted resource in our community. Dan and Helen have been exemplary leaders. They've become valued friends and invalued contributors to our community, to its residents. And so today we take this opportunity to call Dan and Helen up to recognize them and give them our greatest thanks.
Also, Senator Moran will also be providing a citation to both Dan and Helen. Okay, at this time, I'd like to discuss our next recognition, which is COVID-19 support and guidance. We're going to be recognizing both Falmouth Health Agent Scott McGann and our affiliate medical director, Dr. Ryan Bemis. And I'd also ask Terry Rogers, Lieutenant Terry Rogers, to join me at the podium. At the onset of COVID spreading throughout our communities, the effect was widespread, and information was coming from federal and state experts in volume. This rapidly evolving event required us to look to our local experts to provide us guidance and support. Fortunately, we had two experts to help with educating us and providing us with answers when confronted with exposures and the best practice to protect our personnel. Dr. Bemis is our affiliate hospital medical director, and for many years he has provided oversight and education of our emergency medical personnel. So it was of no surprise that he was available to help weed through the medical component of the virus and help to give us better understanding of how to deal with the effect of COVID for our personnel. Scott McGann is the town of Falmouth's health agent, and he was cast into being the voice that provided weekly updates and reports to the community as well, and working to ensure that citizens adhered to orders that were in place to limit the spread of the virus. Besides the massive undertaking, he was readily available to confer with us over our personnel exposures in conjunction with Dr. Bemis's medical advice. They were both invaluable resources to us early on, and I'm glad that they can both now take a deep breath and relax for a moment as conditions rapidly improve. So I'd also ask Lieutenant Rogers to provide a few comments.
So my first week as an emergency medical supervisor is the first week that COVID was a pandemic. It was very tough. So I was thrown into the lion's den. Needless to say, if you did not know Scott McGann's name in the town of Falmouth before COVID last year, everybody in Falmouth knows Scott McGann's name now from all the TV and everywhere else. And Doc Bemis and Scott McGann were great. We'd call them up and they would answer it, and as everybody here knows, this was uncharted territory for all of us. Wear a mask, no mask. I'd have to call them. What do you say? In the truck, all the time. I remember Doc Bemis would be on the beach with his family, and he'd see my phone call, and instead of ignoring it, he would answer, and I could hear the kids in the background, and he's on the beach. They really went above and beyond, and they answered the call every time we had a question as it was changing throughout COVID. So we want to say thank you very much for your support.
So I'd ask Scott McGann and Dr. Bemis to join us up front. And also we're going to have Senator Moran also provide citations for both. Thank you. Okay. Lieutenant Rogers, don't go far. Lieutenant Rogers is going to discuss this next recognition. And I'd ask him to provide an overview.
I'd like to call up Heather Champani to come up forward. So if everybody can remember, this winter was a tough winter. A lot of snow, cold nights, and on February 18th, around 7:45 p.m., Falmouth Fire Rescue was dispatched for a child that was choking out in the Far East. This was a very cold, snowy night, and the roads weren't that well treated right now, and they're still slippery because it was the beginning. Heather is a neighbor, and she is the director of nursing at North Falmouth Royal Magansett. Heather received the call from the family that the child was choking. Without hesitation, Heather ran through the snow over to the neighbor's house where she found the choking child. Heather began giving the child back blows, and immediately the food the child was choking on was dislodged. When the fire department arrived, the baby was okay and Heather was gone. She didn't want any recognition and she was gone. The family was so shook up, they just said, a neighbor. They didn't even tell us. Not until later on we found out that Heather was our mysterious person who saved this child. The child was transported for evaluation and made a full recovery. If it wasn't for the heroic actions of Heather that night, that outcome would have been very different. On the behalf of the Falmouth Fire Rescue Department, we'd like to award the Certificate of Commendation for outstanding medical skills on saving a child's life to Heather Champani.
Thank you, Heather. We are blessed in this community that we have people that'll come to the aid of others, and we hope that trend is out there. After all we've endured, that everybody's looking out for one another. So thank you again, Heather. Okay, our next award and recognition, I'd ask Deputy Abston to come forward.
Okay, I'd like to have Lieutenant Terrence Rogers come back up to the podium again, please. As well as Lieutenant Patrick Friel, Firefighter Jeffrey Mayo, and Captain Ryan Gavin. Is he on call? Okay. Firefighter Mayo is tied up on a call right at the moment, so hopefully he will be here shortly. So we'd like to recognize our fire personnel that kind of go above and beyond. Normally we operate as an all hazards department and we go to a multitude of calls. Welcome, Lieutenant Friel. Firefighter Lieutenant Patrick Friel, everybody. So as I was saying, we go to all hazards in this town, and it's our job. It's what we do. But when we go above and beyond, we want to make sure our personnel are recognized. On February 5th of 2019, our Engine 25 in East Falmouth, as well as Car 28, the shift commander, was dispatched to 26 Winthrop Drive in East Falmouth for a child that was stuck in a tree. Lieutenant Friel, a firefighter at the time, and firefighter Mayo responded in Engine 25. They arrived on location to find an autistic child who climbed up into a tree and wedged himself between a branch and the tree itself. Captain arrived on scene and decided we needed a ladder truck in order to assist in getting the child out. The child was approximately 45 to 50 feet high in the tree and unable to get himself down. Lieutenant Rogers responded in ladder 26, and after careful consideration and attempts to calm the child down, they threw a ground ladder 35 feet and used a lifeline to put a rope around the child and assist with lifting him out of the tree and to the ground safely. Lieutenant Rogers was able to calm the child and lift him out and carry him down the ladder and eventually to the ground to meet his mother. These gentlemen in front of you today made a very stressful situation, especially for a mother of an autistic child, that much more secure, and we want to recognize them for that today. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen. I now ask Deputy Thrasher to come to the podium for our next presentation.
I'd like to call forward firefighter EMT Nate Buckler from Hyannis Fire. You can come over here.
Okay.
So, Nate Buckler is a firefighter in Hyannis, and we just finished outfitting this ladder truck, and the committee tried to put together, it's a ladder and a rescue combined. So we wanted to put a winch on it, and we needed a lot of stabilization expertise in that field, and Nate's family also runs Buckler's Towing. And he is a owner-operator with Buckler's Towing, so he is a wealth of information. So we had him here numerous times to help us outfit the truck with the proper equipment. He came back for some misordered equipment and helped us out. The chairman on the committee is very demanding. And then once we get it all here and we put it together, we asked him to help train. And he came all 4 days for all 4 shifts on his time as well as the fire department's time, which Chief Burke was gracious enough to allow him to leave, and the trainers in the proper operations of winching and stabilization of different straps and chokers that he helped us with. Went above and beyond. He was always available to help us, always there on the phone when we had a question. And we can't thank him enough. It was a wonderful partnership, and we have a certificate of achievement for him. Nate, thank you very much, buddy. My pleasure.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks again, Nate and Chief Burke, for spending time away from such a busy place as well. So Nate enjoyed himself with us. I don't know if I can get him, but he's welcome. There, how do you like it? All right, next, I'd like to bring up our committee volunteers that helped design our last engine just to go over what it takes to be a volunteer, for us in the fire service, the new apparatus that we will order when we're approved through town meeting. It's a very extensive process to try and order one of these pieces of equipment. They're very technically involved when it comes to the design and specifications for these pieces of apparatus. Typically, they can run up, just for a fire engine, about $800,000 for outfitting one of these vehicles. And it's not as easy as just picking up a catalog and trying to find the prettiest looking truck and putting it in service in your department. It requires a lot of effort and energy by a very dedicated group of personnel that volunteer their time to try and create a piece of apparatus that provides the platform for them to conduct their job at a fire scene or other emergency. So with that being said, I'd like to call up to the podium Deputy Chief Scott Thrasher, Lieutenant Bartos, Lieutenant Jeffrey Waggett, Master Mechanic John Rose, and Assistant Mechanic John Elliott, or Jay as we affectionately call him. Thank you. Scott, got a blessing in him? Just as a side note, John and Jay are our mechanics, and they're employed full-time in the department, and we have a very large operation for apparatus repair. They also help take care of other town vehicles, specifically the police department. And having this available in our fire department to maintain the 35 to 40 plus pieces of equipment in our department that ranges from fire apparatus to small trailers and boats and such, it's a huge undertaking by them. And Deputy Thrasher kind of oversees the maintenance as well in the department, and so it is a team effort. It's a very complicated activity at times, but we're very fortunate to have them both working with us, and I just wanted to express that again and thank them for all that they do. Okay. Along with the engine committee, we had to form an aerial ladder committee. The aerial that's behind us was delivered this year, and it took a bit of time to get it put together. We had the approval for town meeting to purchase this vehicle back in 2018, and when any of these vehicles are finally put through the committee, we finalize the plans, and then we make the order with the company. It can take up to a year to have one of these vehicles built. They're built from the ground up. They go through an assembly line. I haven't been out to the plant. Deputy Thrasher and Jay Elliott were out there to follow through with this building of this ladder, and it starts from the ground up all the way to the finished product that you have behind us. It's the ladder truck that is behind us now replaced a 1991 aerial ladder that was still in good shape, but it was really starting to feel the effects of being in service as long as it was. And this vehicle behind us now, as you can imagine, over that amount of time, the technical side of building this vehicle and the equipment that was necessary took an extensive amount of work from a large volunteer group of firefighters that also put in a lot of hard time and effort into coming up with this final product. The ladder behind me also was replaced an old 1991 ladder, and it also replaced our heavy rescue, which had all of our specialized extrication or rescue equipment on it. So with the committee working tirelessly to come up with the design, the equipment, how the compartments were all laid out, and then once we had it delivered, it required an extensive amount of training. So without their preparation, without their oversight, without their suggestions and long committee meetings, then we wouldn't have had such a, very, promising resource that was eventually put into service in our department. So that being said, there were a lot of people that were involved in it, and overseeing both of these engines has been Deputy Thrasher. And I just take a note that, and I tease him a lot because Deputy Thrasher has a very healthy amount of OCD, but it's a good thing. It does drive us crazy. He gives me a hard time because I drink a lot of coffee and he doesn't, but I would think that he probably drinks about several pots a day. And we also lovingly refer to him as Tigger. So he's pouncy, pouncy, fun. So, he put a lot of time and effort, and he went over and above what, we would normally expect from, the committees, because they have home lives and they got a lot of work going on through the rest of the day. But he was working almost daily on this piece of apparatus, and we have a finished product that we're very proud of. I think it went in, the second day it went into service, we had a second alarm fire and it went right to work. So, bravo to everybody. So I'd like to call up Deputy Thrasher, Deputy Abston, Lieutenant Bartos, Lieutenant Ellis, Lieutenant Friel, Firefighters Pesci, Taylor, Banish, Payne, and also Master Mechanic John Rose once again, and Assistant Mechanic Jay Elliott. I'm listed here too, but I'm just going to do this. Awesome. John's here. Once again. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen, for your hard work. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're almost there. Let me indulge here. Okay. One of our last recognitions, and once again, I really want to thank Senator Moran for joining us and providing this special citation to all of our recipients. It's very grateful that she was able to join us today. So at this time, I'd like to recognize one of our captains in our fire department. Wanted to discuss Captain Bruce Gerard. Captain Gerard came to the Falmouth Fire and Rescue Department by way of the Bourne Fire Department in 1992. He began his career as a firefighter EMT and rose to the rank of lieutenant in 2000 and then permanent captain in 2016. Captain Gerard is one of the most enthusiastic and skilled fire professionals that I know. I was fortunate to have him as a partner for many years, and it was an adventure to say the least. His command presence is a quality that accents his technical skills and his calm demeanor when approaching any issue at work or on the fire ground, whatever that may be. It was suggested that Captain Gerard be recognized because of his role as the department's training captain, and I thought it was well deserved. Because of all that I have described, he has been successful in personally training the vast majority of firefighters hired over the last decade or more in our department. He, along with other officers, take the time to formulate the training program. They document their activities, they follow them throughout their training process, and adjust each firefighter who is learning their new craft. No doubt Bruce is not keen about having this accolade today, and I'm sure that I'm going to hear about this later. And it was difficult to get him here, but I actually had to tell him to come here in uniform to join us. So I'd ask Captain Gerard to join us, and I'd also ask Captain Starbird to co-present this recognition. So see, Bruce is a scary guy, but
That's why I'm in between.
yeah. He is kind of a teddy bear, but I wouldn't want to be a recipient if he was mad. So, but anyways, Bruce is always smiling, and if you ever look at any fire scene where you might see some firefighters working, especially the big city guys, you know, Bruce kind of, you know, is a poster, you know, for what firefighters may look like that are real hardened firefighters. The other thing is that we refer to firefighters as Jakes. It goes back, it's a term that was coined many years ago. And one of the things that we say when somebody's an exceptional firefighter, we call him a good Jake. So Bruce, he excels in that, and he provides support, and he participates, and he is just that go-to person in the fire department. And I asked Captain Starbird to join us because Captain Starbird, first off, made this suggestion, so you can deal with that later. And Captain Starbird has worked side by side with them in doing training over the last several years, and I've had the pleasure of being training officer in the past and to working on a lot of these training programs with them, and it's a breeze working with them because it's fun and we enjoy doing it. So I'm really grateful for all of his energy when it comes to taking care of the training of these new persons. So if Scott, if you'd like to say something, I yield to you.
I just reiterate what the chief has said. For the past 5-6 years, I've had the pleasure of working with Captain Gerard, and I've learned more in that 5 years assisting him with the training than I have my entire career in the fire department. This is a relentless job for Bruce. He takes great pride in training everybody that comes into the department continuously. And I would say for the better part of certainly my career, he has been the person that most exemplifies what you want to be as a firefighter when you grow up. And thank you, Bruce.
So with that being said, thank you, Bruce, and we'll issue you this award, and we also will have the citation from Senator Moran as well. Anything to say?
It's all true.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you, Chief.
I kind of expected that, but he's given us bear hugs before, and I've had worse. Okay. So we're at the end of our ceremony, and again, I can't thank everybody enough for joining us. And you know, with everybody that's been helping us over the years, we also have staff that works here, and our staff is relentless in coming to work and providing that public service that's necessary to make the wheels spin. Does he go, Scott? No, you go. Yeah. I needed cue cards. It didn't work. Oh, there we go. So I'd like to ask Joan Jaget and Kim Strom to join us at the podium, please, along with Deputy Thrasher and Deputy Abston as well. Maybe they're getting bear hugs too, I don't know.
That's why I wore flip-flops earlier.
So,
Kim, over there.
we couldn't
Joan.
let it go by that we didn't speak about these two. Both Joan and Kim are our administrative assistants, and they are our gatekeepers upstairs on the second floor. Joan's responsibility is she works with fire prevention and also with the emergency medical services and provides billing assistance. But she mans the phones for the countless amount of phone calls that are necessary to help with scheduling all the permits for the fire prevention division. Joan is always laughing. She's always in a good mood. We don't have to worry about getting fat upstairs because she steals our cookies. So, or they don't get to us. But I don't hear any complaints, and I see, you know, the vast amount of work that she does, and you know, we can't thank her enough. We want to recognize Kim. Kim, you know, we tease her, but she essentially runs the fire department. Many of us could just give up tomorrow, and this department would still run because she's got the key to the ignition for this place. She takes care of all of the administrative paperwork that's necessary for all the new personnel. She takes care of all the budget preparations. She helps with all the ordering. She is, you know, always pleasant and always outgoing, and she also helps with the emergency management, and she actively keeps herself educated and gets involved in a lot of the other projects that involve the CERT team as well. So that being said, the two of these individuals, you know, make up our fire department, and we wouldn't be able to do many of the things that we do if it wasn't for their assistance and for their dedication to the town and the dedication to the fire department. And we wanted to thank them with just a little token of appreciation from us. So, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for not saying I shop all the time.
I know you don't shop, yes. No shopping. So, you know, in closing, I'd ask, and I'll trigger it at some point here, but I wanted to give a round of applause to all those that were recognized today. But I also wanted to have a round of applause for the families that support all of us and our friends as well, and in sharing this moment. We couldn't do it without you. Fire service has a proud tradition. Many present today have had family members who are on the job or are influenced by the call to duty to serve. We wear many hats. We are firefighters at heart, regardless of our ranks. We serve as EMTs, paramedics, divers, boat operators, extrication technicians, hazmat technicians, etc. Through it all, we've had the love and support from our families through the challenging climb throughout our careers. They too deserve our sincere gratitude for putting up with us, essentially. Lastly, I'd be remiss if I did not acknowledge those who have gone before us, that have left lasting impressions on us and or imparted wisdom and experience to make us better equipped to serve for the days and years to come. So, a round of applause for everybody, for all of you. And I thank you once again for joining us today. I'm being timed by one of the O'Malley girls, so I'm trying to keep this as quick as possible. because she's going to tell me later on how badly I did. But again, I thank you very much for joining us today, and we have some refreshments out in the front, so you can make your way to the front and take a little time and be outside, look at our equipment, walk around the station. More than happy to show off what we've got here and what your tax dollars take care of. And again, thank you to the police department for your support, your brothers in blue. Thank you very much for all you do. Thank you all, and have a great day. Thank you.